Good morning, students. Today we are going to learn about structure of nephron, mechanism of urine formation and maturation. Are you ready? Yes, let's begin. Students, what are nephrons? Nephrons are the functional units of a kidney, right? So what is the function of a kidney? Kidney's function is to remove the waste materials from the blood and to make urine. So kidney role enti blood lo ఉన్న waste materials అన్నిటిని తీసేసి urine ని తయారు చేయడం. And where does this function happens? It happens in its functional units or the filtration units called nephrons. And now students, where are these nephrons present? When I spoke about the LS of kidney, I've shown two regions in a kidney, right? Outer region is called cortex and inner region is called medulla, right? So see here, a portion of kidney is sliced and zoomed over here. Let us look this. So outer is cortex and inner is medulla. If you see here, there are two nephrons shown. So this tubular structures, white tubular structures are the nephrons, and two nephrons are shown here. And their location, if you observe, they are present both in cortex and medulla. A portion of the nephron is present in cortex and a portion in medulla. So they are present in cortex and medulla. Now students, how many nephrons are present in each kidney? It is 1.3 to 1.8 million nephrons. So huge, right? Yes, so many filtration units are working continuously to remove the waste materials from our blood. So let us understand the structure of a nephron now. So students, see here, if you see the structure of a nephron, we find two main parts. The first one is Malpighian body and renal tubule. So locate these parts here. So this one, this cup-shaped structure is called as Malpighian body, and this tubular region until here it is called as renal tubule. So up to here it is a nephron. From cup to this region it is a nephron, and we have two main parts: Malpighian body, that is this cup region, and the tubular region is the renal tubule. Two main parts. Now if you see the Malpighian body, it has two other parts in it. They are Bowman's capsule and glomerulus. This cup is lined with squamous epithelial cells, and they are called as podocytes. So what are the squamous epithelial cells that are lining the Bowman's capsule? Called podocytes. These are very special that they have gaps in between. The cells have intercellular spaces, and through these spaces the impurities of the blood enter into the cup. Understood, students? So it acts like a sieve, oka jallada laga act chestund anamata ee layer, so that the impurities, blood lo unde impurities anta din lopaliki pipe lopaliki vellipotayi. Understood? So now what is glomerulus? Glomerulus is nothing but the blood capillaries that are present inside the cup. So there are a tuft or bunch of fine blood capillaries inside the cup, and that is called as glomerulus. How these capillaries are formed? Capillaries ekkadi nunchi form avutayamma? Arteries unte form avutundi. Artery break ayinappudu capillaries vastayi kada, right? So it is the afferent arteriole. See here, afferent arteriole. It is the afferent arteriole that enters into the cup, breaks into capillaries, and these capillaries again they join to form efferent arteriole. So afferent arteriole blood ni తీసుకొని కప్ లోకి వచ్చి బ్రేక్ అయ్యి capillaries గా ఫామ్ అవుతుంది, అండ్ ఈ capillaries మళ్ళీ జాయిన్ అయ్యి efferent arteriole గా బయట వస్తాయి అన్నమాట. Understood, students? So one blood capillary, one blood arteriole is entering into the cup, breaking into capillaries, and those again the capillaries are joining to form efferent arteriole. Afferent goes in, efferent comes out. So that is what is glomerulus. So we have seen what is Malpighian body. Now what is renal tubule? Renal tubule is this tubular portion until this point is called as renal tubule, and in the renal tubule we have three regions. They are PCT, means proximal convoluted tubule, then loop of Henle, this one, This loop is loop of Henle. Then DCT is this region. Understood, students? So there are three regions. PCT is convoluted, proximal convoluted tubule. Because why it is proximal means it is in the proximity of the cup ke daggarga undi kabatti ee tube ni proximal convoluted tubule antaru. And convoluted because it is highly folded. So it is a highly folded tube which is near to the Bowman's capsule. Next, this PCT leads into a loop called loop of Henle, and loop of Henle continues as the distal convoluted tubule. Distal because it is away from the cup, and convoluted because again it is having folds. Understood? So it is a tubular structure that is arising from the Bowman's cup, and it has three regions: PCT, loop of Henle, and DCT. PCT is near to the convoluted pipe near to Bowman's cup, and loop of Henle is the loop that is going into the medulla. See here, the loop is going into the medulla. So the loop, the tubular loop that is going into the medulla is Henle's loop, and then the convoluted pipe that is away from the Bowman's cup is distal convoluted tubule. So understood, right? There are three regions in the renal tubule: PCT, loop of Henle, and DCT. Finally, this DCT opens into a big pipe-like structure again, and this is called as collecting tubule. If you see here, this is the collecting tubule. So many nephrons are connected to this collecting tubule, which pour the filtrate of the blood, that is urine, into the collecting tubule. From the collecting tubule, it goes into the calyces. I told, right, when I spoke about LS of kidney, there are stem-like structures that are present under the pyramids, and these stem-like structures are called calyces. And from there, the urine enters into pelvis. This broad region is called pelvis. This pelvis leads into a pipe-like structure called ureter. Ureter then joins with urinary bladder. Urinary bladder leads into urethra, and the urine is expelled out. Understood, students? So main ga filtration ikkada jarugutundi. Filtrate anedi ee pipe gunda anta pass ayi final ga collecting duct loki vastundi. Collecting duct lo nunchi direct ga it goes into the calyx region. Ikkada calyx region untundi. Calyx ante ikkada ee stem lanti structures. So వాటి నుంచి ఈ broad region called pelvis లోకి వెళ్తుంది. Pelvis నుంచి then it enters into this pipe called ureter. Ureter నుంచి మనకి ఏముంది, ureters are joined with urinary bladder కదా. సో urinary bladder లోకి వెళ్తుంది, అక్కడ టెంపరీగా స్టోర్ అవుతుంది. Then when urge occurs, full గా fill అయిన తర్వాత it comes out through the pipe called urethra, right? So this is broad understanding of the process what goes on in nephron. So we have understood the structure of nephron completely and the process that goes on in nephron broadly. Now we are in a position to understand the mechanism of urine formation. But before that, there is one more concept that you need to understand, that is how the blood is brought to nephron for filtration. So blood nephron lopaliki ela vastundi. Filtration జరగాలంటే blood రావాలి కదా. So how the blood is brought to nephron? So to understand that, we need to understand the blood circulatory system of the nephron. So let us see that circulation part. So students, you know that the renal artery brings oxygenated blood with waste materials to the kidney, right? So the systemic aorta, which is coming from the heart, breaks into renal artery, and that renal artery enters into kidney. After entering into the kidney, the renal artery breaks into several branches, and those branches are called as afferent arterioles. So renal artery, after entering into kidneys, break into afferent arterioles. You know, right? Artery ఏమవుతుంది, ఏ ఆర్గన్ లోపలికి ఎంటర్ అయినా ఫస్ట్ బ్రాంచెస్ ని ఫామ్ చేస్తున్నాం. బ్రాంచెస్ ని ఏమంటారు, ఆర్టీరియోల్స్ అంటారు. ఇన్ ద కిడ్నీ దే ఆర్ కాల్డ్ as afferent arterioles. So here if you see, this is the renal artery. After entering into kidney, it is breaking into afferent arterioles. only one is shown prominent. There are many afferent arterioles. So this afferent arteriole enters into the Bowman's capsule. So this is the Bowman's capsule, right? So afferent arteriole enters into Bowman's capsule. Now arterioles again break up to form capillaries. So afferent arteriole also breaks and form capillaries. The tuft of capillaries is what is called as glomerulus. So after breaking into capillaries, what is to be formed? Vein, right? But here the speciality of nephron is the capillaries again they join and form another arteriole called efferent arteriole. So మామూలుగా అయితే capillaries తర్వాత ఏమో ఫామ్ అవ్వాలి, వెయిన్స్ ఫామ్ అవ్వాలి. కానీ ఇక్కడ మళ్ళీ ఇంకొక arteriole ఫామ్ అవుతుంది, అంటే ఆర్టరీ లాంటిది ఫామ్ అవుతుంది. సో efferent arteriole is formed. This efferent arteriole after coming out from the Bowman's cup, it breaks into capillaries. So artery annaka capillary gane kada break avali. Efferent arteriole means it is an artery. So again capillaries are made. These capillaries wrap around the renal tubule region. So this tubular region is wrapped by the peritubular capillaries. See here these fine blood capillaries which are forming a network like structures around the renal tubule is what is called as peritubular capillaries. These capillaries now they join to form renal vein. So capillaries anni మామూలుగా అయితే ఏమవుతాయి, they join and form venules, small veins form అవుతాయి, దాని మళ్ళీ ఏమవుతుంది మెయిన్ vein form అవుతుంది. So like that here also the peritubular capillaries they join to form venules. These are all venules. The venules again join to form renal vein. So that renal vein comes out of kidney and takes deoxygenated and waste free blood to the heart, and now heart sends that blood to lungs for oxygenation, and then it sends the pure blood for all the parts. Understood students? So renal artery ఏమైంది లోపలికి ఎంటర్ అయ్యి afferent arterioles గా మారింది. అది మళ్ళీ ఏమైంది capillaries గా మారింది. capillaries అన్ని జాయిన్ అయ్యి ఏమైనాయి అంటే ఆ గ్లోమరులస్ లో ఉండే capillaries అన్ని జాయిన్ అయ్యి efferent arteriole ఫామ్ అయింది. efferent arteriole మళ్ళీ బ్రేక్ అయ్యి పెరిట్యూబులర్ క్యాపిలరీస్ ని ఫామ్ చేసింది. ఈ క్యాపిలరీస్ అన్ని మళ్ళీ ఏమైనాయి జాయిన్ అయ్యి వెన్యూల్స్ ని ఫామ్ చేసి ఆ వెన్యూల్స్ అంతా కలిసి రీనల్ వెయిన్ గా అయినాయి. సో ఇక్కడ అంతా ఫిల్టరేషన్ జరిగింది. ఫైనల్ గా ఇక్కడికి వచ్చే రీనల్ వెయిన్ లోకి వచ్చే బ్లడ్ ఏంటి, డీఆక్సిజనేటెడ్ బ్లడ్, బట్ వేస్ట్ ఫ్రీ బ్లడ్. వేస్ట్ అంతా రిమూవ్ అయింది కానీ ఆక్సిజన్ కూడా రిమూవ్ అయిపోయింది. బికాస్ కిడ్నీ హ్యాస్ యూజ్డ్ అప్ ది ఆక్సిజన్. It is deoxygenated but waste free. Now this renal vein ఏం చేస్తుంది, it takes this deoxygenated waste free blood to the heart. హార్ట్ ఏం చేస్తుంది, సెండ్స్ దట్ టు లంగ్స్. లంగ్స్ లో ఆక్సిజనేషన్ జరుగుతుంది and that waste free blood is now sent to all the other parts. Understood students? So this is circulation part. Now we will understand the exact mechanism of filtration that goes on in nephron. So students, the mechanism of urine formation involves 4 important steps. They are glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption, tubular secretion and formation of urine. Let us see the details of each step. So what is glomerular filtration? So it is the filtration of blood that goes on in the glomerulus. So right, blood from renal artery enters into afferent arteriole. From afferent arteriole, blood enters into the capillaries of glomerulus. If we compare the diameter of the afferent arteriole with that of capillaries, the diameter of capillaries is very less. So when the blood moves from afferent arteriole into the blood capillaries, the blood undergoes pressure. Due to that pressure, the liquid portion of the blood comes out into the Bowman's cup. So that filtrate, that liquid portion that has come out into the Bowman's cup is what is called as primary urine. This primary urine contains all the constituents of blood except blood cells and proteins. Because proteins are larger in size, they cannot come out of capillaries. So now the capillaries contain the blood cells and the proteins. Except them, everything is now in Bowman's cup, and this is called as primary urine. Understood, students? So this primary urine then goes into next region called proximal convoluted tubule. Let's see what happens here. So the primary urine from Bowman's cup now enters into PCT, and in the PCT the second step, that is tubular reabsorption, takes place. Students, you know the primary urine is blood without blood cells and certain proteins. So that blood contains many useful solutes like glucose, amino acids, vitamins, and many salts, and also the main component, that is water. So these substances should not be lost as urine. So what happens is these substances are reabsorbed into PCT, the wall of the PCT, and from wall it enters into the blood. So where is blood here? This PCT is wrapped with blood capillaries, right? So from PCT wall, these substances, they enter into blood again. So blood has lost these substances in the glomerulus, and blood gains them here again. Understood, students? So this is called as tubular reabsorption. Now the filtrate enters into loop of Henle. During this moment, the blood capillaries around this region absorb some amount of water from the filtrate. It accounts for 10%. So 10% of water is absorbed from the filtrate into the blood capillaries in the loop of Henle. Then the filtrate enters into DCT, distal convoluted tubule. So what happens here is our next step, that is tubular secretion. In this region, the blood capillaries release certain substances into DCT, and this release is what is called as tubular secretion. Why this is called tubular secretion? Because the substances from blood capillaries first enter into DCT wall, and from the wall they are secreted into the tube. That is why this process is called as tubular secretion. Now, what substances are secreted into the tube? Can you guess? Yes, those substances which are to be expelled out of the body are to be secreted. And what are they? They are waste materials like extra ions of potassium, sodium, chloride, hydrogen ions, urea, uric acid, creatinine, etc. So these are all toxic when they are present in large amounts. So they are to be excreted out, and they are secreted from blood into DCT, and this process is what is called as tubular secretion. Did you understand, students? PCT lo emaindi, like reabsorption jarigindi. Primary urine lo unde useful content anta blood loki ellindi. Useful contents to paatu ee waste lu kuda blood loki enter అయిపోయాయి. బట్ ఆ వేస్ట్ మెటీరియల్స్ అన్ని మళ్ళీ ఇక్కడ సెక్రీట్ అయిపోయినాయి, ట్యూబ్ లోకి సెక్రీట్ అయిపోయినాయి, DCT లో సెక్రీట్ అయింది. సో దిస్ ఇస్ what is called as tubular secretion. This type of tubular secretion even happens in PCT, but it is negligible. Understood? Now, the most important function of DCT is to maintain proper concentration and pH of urine. Students, you know pH of urine is, normal urine is 4.5 to 8. So if more H plus ions are released here, then the urine becomes acidic. If the very less are released, then the urine becomes basic. So it depends on DCT and the body condition whether to make acidic urine or basic urine. So DCT is the region where the pH is adjusted. Understood, students? So now, what about the concentration? Even the concentration of urine, that is the amount of water in the urine, is also finally decided here. How this final decision takes place, we will see in the next slide. So up to here, did you understand? I hope you understood. Let's see the last step, that is formation of urine. Students, this is the last step where the concentration of the urine, that is the amount of water in the urine, is decided and is sent out. So based on the amount of water that is present in our body, the amount of water to be expelled out in the urine is decided. So if the urine contains more water, then it is called as hypotonic urine, and if the urine contains less water, then that is called as hypertonic urine. Whether we pass out hypertonic urine or hypotonic urine is decided based on water present in our body. Let's see how this happens. We have a region in our brain called diencephalon. The nerve cells in this region control the amount of water to be passed out in the urine. For instance, if our body contains less amount of water, that is, if we consume less amount of water, then the nerve cells in the diencephalon region sends a signal to the pituitary gland to release a hormone called vasopressin. This vasopressin acts on DCT. Where is DCT? So here, the vasopressin acts on DCT and makes it permeable for water. What does it mean? When vasopressin acts on the wall of the DCT, the wall becomes stretched. Wall stretch avutundi. Because of that stretching, there arises the gaps between cells. Cells madhyalo gaps form avutayi. And due to those gaps, the water from the tube enters into blood capillaries. Understood? So the DCT becomes permeable to water, and so the water escapes from the tube into the blood capillaries. So that is what is the action of vasopressin. Because water has reabsorbed back into the blood vessels, the urine now contains very less water with more solutes. So such a urine is what is called as hypertonic urine. అండర్స్టూడ్ స్టూడెంట్స్. సో వాటర్ చాలా తక్కువగా తీసుకున్నప్పుడు ఏమవుతుందంటే డయాన్సఫ్లాన్ ఏం చేస్తుందంటే పిట్యూటరీకి చెప్తుంది వాసోప్రెసిన్ రిలీజ్ చేయని. వాసోప్రెసిన్ ఏం చేస్తుంది, డీసీటీ దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళిపోయేసి దాన్ని స్ట్రెచ్ చేస్తుంది. ఆ స్ట్రెచ్ చేయడం వల్ల ఏమవుతుందంటే సెల్స్ కి మధ్యలో గ్యాప్స్ ఫామ్ అవుతాయి. అంటే డీసీటీ పర్మియబుల్ అయింది అని అర్థం. వాటర్ ట్యూబ్లో ఉన్న వాటర్ అంటే ఆ ఫిల్టరేట్లో ఉన్న వాటర్ బ్లడ్లోకి ఎంటర్ అయిపోతుంది. సో ఇప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది, మొత్తం వాటర్ కాదు, ఆల్మోస్ట్ వాటర్ ఎంటర్ అవుతుంది. అండ్ నౌ ఈ ఫిల్టరేట్ చాలా కాన్సన్ట్రేటెడ్గా ఉంటుంది. లెస్ వాటర్ ఉంటుంది, వెరీ లెస్ వాటర్ విత్ మోర్ సొల్యూట్స్. సచ్ ఏ యూరిన్ ఈస్ వాట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ as hypertonic urine. Now the second situation is when we take plenty of water, and if our body contains high amounts of water, then diencephalon does not signal pituitary gland, then no vasopressin is produced. So then DCT remains impermeable. It does not allow water to go into blood vessels. Then what happens? No reabsorption takes place. Due to that, urine with more amount of water comes out, and that urine is called as hypotonic urine. Got it? When there is no vasopressin, there is no reabsorption of water takes place, and so we pass dilute urine called hypotonic urine. This type of urine is very common in patients called diabetes insipidus. So it's a kind of disease in which the vasopressin, the hormone vasopressin, is not at all produced. Because of this, they always pass excessive repeated dilute urine, whether the water level in the body is less or more. Irrespective of the water condition, they always pass dilute urine. Understood, students? So this is about the formation of urine. I have missed these 2 points here. That is 75%. This 75% here indicates that absorption of water. So 75% of water is absorbed in PCT, 10% it is absorbed in Henle. So only 15% reaches the DCT region, and from that 15% also certain amount of water is reabsorbed if vasopressin is produced. Understood, students? So that is what is mentioned here. So we have finished the mechanism of urine formation. I hope you all understood all these steps. The first step is glomerular filtration, then reabsorption, then secretion and formation of urine. Now students, the last topic, that is micturition. What is micturition? It is nothing but expulsion of urine out of the body. So passing out urine out of the body is what is called as micturition. When does we pass urine? When we get an urge to pass. And this urge occurs when the bladder is filled with 300 to 400 ml of urine. But the maximum capacity of our bladder is 700 to 800 ml. If we fill the bladder to this extent, the urge becomes very painful and it leads to involuntary micturition. Involuntary micturition means we don't know that we are passing urine. We will pass it. Understood? So that is involuntary micturition. And do you know the total amount of urine to be excreted per day is 1.6 to 1.8. liters. So this much amount of urine to pass out is the healthy condition. If we pass very less than this or more than this, it is an abnormality. Understood, students? So drink more water and try to pass this much urine every day so that our toxins won't get accumulated in the body and are expelled out. Understood, students? I hope you understood all the topics of the day, that is structure of nephron, mechanism of urine formation and maturation. Thank you, students.